podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 4, Episode 6, Bender Should Not Be Allowed on Television. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
And Pete Woodward.
That's me.
Joining us today is Nick McKinnis.
Hello.
How's it going?
Just great.
You
This
wrote
is
here
interesting. You were there's no shame or judgment with this, but a fabulously last minute guest this week.
Yay.
Right.
So I literally
Right.
know nothing about you other than that you just moved in as Michelle's new roommate.
Well, it's better than just finding a random person on the street.
Well, sometimes that might work too.
We were sitting on the couch last night, and then I was texting with Pete, and then I just looked over to Nick, and I was like, hey, you want to be on the podcast tomorrow? And then I made you watch the episode, like, right then.
I did.
Go do this.
Twice actually.
Take notes. And we did rescue Tom from the clutches of the Illuminati brothers. It took about a third of BB's Halloween candy haul, but
He's back.
yeah, quid pro quo.
I
It all
have
worked out.
no memory of what happened.
Sounds like you have amnesia.
I
An
might have
explosive
amnesia.
case of amnesia.
My God.
I really liked this episode. There's a lot of funny stuff in it. Like, it was solid. Starting with a remixed version of the theme song that's better than the one you did, Tom.
It's John DiMaggio and Billy West just like beatboxing and doing the voices.
And
Yeah.
why did they do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just that one episode. It's the only one that goes that way.
No, there's another episode that we did a while back that had like a beatbox.
Was it?
Did it?
Different, and I think we all talked about how it was stupid and that there was no reason to do it.
Zoidberg.
Yeah, with the Zoidberg.
Zoidberg. Like, okay.
It was beautiful. A lot of
This was also broadcast like right towards the end of the series. Like they knew that
Really?
they were canceled. Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
it was production order wise. It was earlier, but
you know what? I have a question about that, and I don't know whether to bring it up now or later. I'm going to bring it up now.
have a now and later and think about it.
Well, so one thing that I've noticed, especially in this last little run of episodes, and then we've been, intermittently talking about the Worlds of Tomorrow game, and then they did the Radiorama thing to promote the Worlds of Tomorrow game, and it seems like the references that are getting made in those new properties, like the video game and the podcast and things like that, they all kind of hit this sweet spot of stuff around the fourth season. Now, I don't know if it's because I don't know the references that are coming out of the later seasons or the movies, but is this widely regarded as sort of like the apex of the thing, and then everything else just, I mean, it's like fine, but it tapers off, or like are we in the golden age of Futurama?
I would say yes because there are a lot of good episodes in this season,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so far, I mean, it's been completely solid. But I don't know, like I think there's a lot of the insider, jokes that a lot of people will recite and things like that come from probably episodes in this season.
Even
I mean, a lot of things that I think about are in a lot of these, and then I'm like watching, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the episode that's in.
well, even Radiorama, the entire plot was almost an extension of this one, where Bender
Yeah, it was like the part 2 of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Yeah.
they reference Bender being Antonio Calculon Jr.
Yeah, I had no idea that just a few short weeks after hearing it. I'd be like, oh, now I know. Now I know what they're talking
Now
about.
I get it.
It's all jumbled up in my head because we had a delay in recording, and then there's like all these other bonus episodes we've been putting out. I don't even know what day it is.
I know it's November now.
Okay,
I know my
sucks.
birthday was yesterday.
Oh yes,
that's right. And then you.
So it'll be like a week and a day ago when people hear this,
Yeah.
You're still not 30.
or 2
Nope.
days.
29.
So wait, before we get into the episode, what exactly is your relationship with Futurama?
Well, I've been a kind of a back and forth between like a diehard, avid Burnout fan and more of a passive, oh man, I can't believe I missed out on a whole season, sort of fan. So yeah, it's a big spurt sort of interest for me. But I love to point out I love to look at all the writing of it, all the continuity is just amazing.
Yeah, it's okay. And a lot of people say that once it came back on Comedy Central, really, like a lot of people fell out they were a fan when it was there, and then it was, even when it was canceled, because like the movies that I know came out, that kind of reignited things.
We also had the benefit of a gap where the DVDs were available.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and
it was. I always forget that it was on Adult Swim. Adult Swim played Futurama, and I always forget that.
Really?
That's kind of what brought it back. That's why Comedy Central was like, hey, maybe this is something that we should purchase, and we could probably make money off of this because our demographic is the same as Adult Swim, so
Stoners
maybe we should kind of
watching late night
college
cartoons,
students, potheads,
eating cereal. I mean, if they're going to sit through Aqua Teen Hunger Force and whatever, then this is certainly going to play in Peoria.
But will they get off their tractors to watch?
God, I just love so much about this episode. The Jumbotron was a cartoon dog on a motorcycle?
Was it a dog or a wolf?
I think it was a wolf. It was the same cartoon as the last episode we recorded with Ramon, which actually it was like 2 episodes after this one in production order.
And you know what,
it was,
you guys, we're
Much
doing
Ado
you a
About
favor.
Mutton.
Yeah.
We're doing you a favor because you get to listen to Ramon before we break your hearts.
Yeah, we'll get there. We could just say that we're avoiding it.
Well, that is what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that cartoon, what was it called? It was Much Ado About Mutton.
Yep.
So,
Those
yeah,
the
that
eardrums
was
and the trumpet.
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, it's so bizarre. But it just starts right out with the All My Circuits. And we've seen that before, but I feel like it's been like a pretty long time since there was a good All My Circuits reference. Because there's like the one episode where it sort of dovetailed a lot. And then it's maybe Calculon will pop up at an award show or something.
Yeah, the last real big thing with Calculon, I think, was the whole thing with Harold Zoid.
Yeah, all right, because he was in the movie.
Yeah. So I don't think... Yep, so I always like All My Circuits.
It just... So... one of the things about it that I really like, and I think I've talked about this, maybe I've mentioned it on the show, I don't know, I forget, but my ex-wife loved Days of Our Lives. So by proxy, I saw a lot of Days of Our Lives.
I've watched a lot of Days of Our Lives.
It's fucking batshit crazy.
It's
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
just the stuff that they pull off with force fields and magic pirate coins and islands that are, I mean, like, we're going to use the same sets, but they're in an island. And it's just like your suspension of disbelief has to be like I wonder if it's the same people that wrote the cartoons that we have on the Jumbotron that are just like batshit nuts transitioned into soap opera writing, or how that works. Because it seems like, other than it being a lot of work where you just got to chew through these things, like you could basically throw any shit you want up at it and people will watch it and the ratings will hold.
At my old job, we had televisions in the cafeteria. So every day when I would eat my lunch, I'd get to watch an hour of, it would start out with Maury and end up with whatever soap opera was on after that. God. And it was like, it didn't even seem like the same television show. Like I would
from day to day.
Yeah, loosely pay attention. It was like the characters are so unmemorable and the plot lines, they make no sense. So you don't really care or remember what's happening. And I don't know how people keep track of that stuff. And like, was it Days of Our Lives has been on for 60 years or something?
Something like that.
What's the continuity on that? Like
oh
is
my
there
God.
none?
Oh, no, it's
or is it just insane?
It's been retconned so many times, like it's just like looped back on itself. Mm-hmm. Like it's
people that you thought was this one person for like 20 years turns out to not be that person, and this other person's that person.
Do you think they ever just like reshot a script and changed the names?
Yeah, oh for sure.
Other actors and actresses show up on other soap operas as like other characters, and then like come back to the other one.
And then when somebody goes, they'll just be like, the part of such and such is now being played by such and such.
Yes.
So that you know that they're like, they don't even wait for the credits. Just like, Joe Smith is no longer Billy. Smith Johnson is now Billy. And off it goes. It's a real Armin Tanzarian sort of thing where it's just like, we're not ever going to talk about this again.
With soap operas, the only thing they don't do is they don't show people having real problems. It's all like outrageous things that when people watch it, they're not thinking about their own lives. it's really an escape.
It's
like it's all about
nonsense.
amnesia and twin brothers and who's the real father.
I mean, it's just I don't know. It was one of those things where, like, after a certain point,
I may be
like
$30,000 in credit card debt, but at least I don't have amnesia.
And I'm not
Could be worse.
I'm not Egyptian either.
You know when I wish I had amnesia? Every time I watch a fucking Q*bert episode.
Really? He was obnoxious, but I felt like he was
Q*bert.
subdued.
Q*bert.
Oh.
Does he bring out the worst in Dwight or vice versa?
I think Q*bert just sucks. I think Dwight's a good kid.
Really?
And Tinny Tim,
He's got the
He's
Farnsworth DNA. I mean, he really can't be too, much of a good influence on anyone. I mean, they're out for chaos and
he's like the opposite of Fry.
Right.
Like Fry is dumb and lovable. Q*bert is intelligent and just reprehensible.
Well, yeah, I feel like Q*bert's default mode is mansplaining. Like it's
Duh,
just
we're 12.
yeah. And yet still like he's actually pretty ignorant. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that he's really dumb about, and this episode gets to explore that. But like even the thing where they're just like, I'm gonna have the most amnesia and like,
I have it now, but I forgot because I have amnesia.
but like
I blame it on their parents.
yeah, for sure. And
They
television.
leave them to be watched by like people like Fry, Leela, and Bender.
As a parent, I can say definitively that the best way, the only way really to discipline your child is through physical violence. And before anybody calls the cops or child protective services, that was a satirical statement. I've never
That's the name of the
hit my daughter.
wooden spoon he uses.
Aw.
I'm gonna get satirical statement.
I'm gonna beat you metaphorically, which is what I call this paddle.
This metal fork.
Metal fork.
But the thing I didn't understand about it was like they're watching this and going, "I want amnesia," but that's like watching something and being like, "I want to get syphilis," like because the main character has it or something. Like it's a disease, it's a problem, it's a malady. I mean, wouldn't you? I don't. Again, it'll all come back to cartoon logic, right? Is that just the answer for that? That it's just they're
Probably,
dumb.
Because they're 12-year-olds and they want everything on television.
I mean, okay.
Put a ham in it, you twerps.
So they are dumb. Did you have a swinging birthday?
A swinging birthday?
Like Calculon's swinging birthday?
It was okay. It was pretty good. I saw a lot of my close friends. And
Was it like a Playboy After Dark situation?
No. I went to the bar and sang karaoke, and every time I wanted to sing, Hot Carl put me at the top of the list. So that was pretty much all the fun I had was I got to sing karaoke. But it was not really a Playboy party at all.
Well, it just that whole scene with Calculon made me think of those old like Hugh Hefner just died, which dredged up all of the awful things he was. And then it's a complicated legacy because potentially there's things that like, oh, well, there was some positive aspects to it too. I mean, I guess the real thing is everybody's awful at base. But like those old videos where it's just like a Manhattan penthouse apartment or whatever it is, Chicago or who knows. And it's just like, oh, everybody's just, over here's my friend Dizzy Gillespie. He's going to play some trumpet for us right now. And then he turns around and it's like O.J. Simpson 20 years pre-murder. Or maybe even earlier than that. I don't know. They're just like these weird scenes because it was such a strange conglomeration where you'd really like to see that on TV now. I think like British talk shows do that way better than American ones do, where it's just like, we're going to take an author and a crazy comedian and then like, here's an astronomer. We're just going to throw them out there and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what jokes they come up with.
Yeah. And we'll leave out a big tray of what I assume is baking powder too.
Oh, Monique, why did we wait so many years to bathe in champagne? That was one of my favorite All My Circuits clips.
Have you ever bathed in champagne, anybody?
seems
No.
sticky.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like it would be really sticky.
If you were soaking in it, though?
I don't know if I'd want to drink it.
You
Like,
wouldn't-
I don't know if I
wouldn't
can
drink
while
it.
I was naked in it.
I
I
couldn't
don't
handle
know.
the smell.
No?
No. Like,
I feel like the bubbles would be really invigorating. I mean, it'd be like a bath bomb. But
Yeah.
I wonder, have you ever watched Last Man on Earth?
Yes, I love that show.
Okay, so like in the early seasons, he had the tequila
The-
bathtub
yeah.
and the
The
margarita
baby pool.
baby pool.
Yeah.
I mean, but wallowing in your own filth seems like a bad situation. But is there a way that you can kind of like Like, how can you enjoy the feeling of being immersed in your favorite beverage and still enjoy it without ingesting your own secretions?
Well, I think if you're in a baby pool full of margaritas, you don't care about ingesting your own secretions after maybe like 10 minutes of sipping on your own secretions.
The tiniest cut on you, that would just hurt.
It'd sting.
Yeah. I feel the same thing with champagne, probably.
I
It's
wonder
the
if they
alcohol.
wiped salt around the edge of the baby pool so you could like lick that. And
It's an important step.
yeah, it shows the extra mile. But the champagne bathing. Well, I guess if I want to pull this back even farther, they're robots. How are they even going to feel the bubbles in the champagne anyway?
How do they not short out in the champagne
Well, they're
bath?
supposed to drink the alcohol, right? Isn't that how they? Although Bender's the only robot that we've seen that needs to drink alcohol to be functioning properly, right?
I don't know.
You're supposed to be the expert on this stuff. Do you have amnesia again, Tom?
Yeah, they did something to me. No, I don't know. There may be, maybe Bender does it excessively, or it's like you never see so and so go to the bathroom or whatever. That doesn't mean that they don't go to the bathroom.
Okay, that's fine. You never
They're
see
just
me
not
go to the
showing
bathroom.
all of that.
Oh, and speaking of going to the bathroom,
Yeah?
when Bender runs in and says, "Hey, there's something going on television," he puts the TV down on a table and he plugs it into his ass,
Which is supposed to be his brick hole.
which is his brick hole. But now he's got a butt plug.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well played. That's good.
That definitely slipped by the censors there.
Come on.
There was a lot of that in this episode, I feel like. There was something we skipped when they zoom in early on the professor and Hermes. What are they hitting with rakes?
Some creature. There's creature noises.
Why? What's it? What? I mean, just trying to get in a box for shipping?
I don't know. It's just funny.
Mad scientist stuff, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I like they had rakes though.
Yeah.
Maybe they're leaf monsters.
I don't know. Is there such a thing?
There could be.
Well, and since when did Hermes help with scientific experiments? He's the bureaucrat.
yeah.
He's like their HR guy.
true.
Paperwork. That's a little off. I mean, actually, Hermes and the professor seem very buddy all throughout this episode.
Yeah, because yeah.
It was unusual.
They are though, kind of. Well, I mean, I think that they would be considered like they more
because they're the administration. They're the man, so to speak.
Yeah, they get along more than they don't get along. Like
But then the professor's tight with Zoidberg too, and Hermes hates Zoidberg. Maybe Hermes hates Zoidberg
But we haven't found out-
because it's competition.
we'll find out why
Ooh.
later why the professor and Zoidberg are such good friends.
But maybe I'd see maybe the reasons Hermes hates Zoidberg so much is Zoidberg's in competition for the professor's friendship with Hermes, or he views him as a threat.
No, I think
Aside
it's just
from
an
being
idiot.
horrible. Yeah, I mean, from being generally gross. This is the first time we saw Sal in a different outfit. He had his like scrubs on set when Antonio Calculon Jr. was busted.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. He's normally in like a wife beater, sometimes different colors, but like, butt crack.
I still think
hanging out.
it's the clone theory. It's my Sal clone theory.
I think that's good. Like Teamsters are just basically clones now of Sal. I get that. That makes a lot of sense. But the fact that he came in and you know what? I have a friend who's a Teamster on like TV and movie sets. I should ask him how that works.
Ask him if he's a clone.
I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will. Or if he's like, maybe you have to get to it. It's like the Freemasons. Like you have to get to a certain level before they clone you and put you on the spaceship.
Is he also like a mechanic, or does he just do like you think he's just a manual laborer?
He's a driver. He's transportation,
Yeah.
but he got patched in. It's a pretty sweet gig. He drives Rod Stewart around in a golf cart on the beach. Just, gets pictures in the paper. It's a winding road to get there, but it all kind of worked out for him. He got retweeted by Charlie Sheen once.
Ooh. There you go.
During a manic episode. I mean, it's all good. What? I didn't realize that Hubert was cloned from a growth. scraped off the professor's
This is
back.
where we learned that.
Yeah. He's going to regret picking that as his birthday as opposed to the cloning tank, I think.
Yeah, he might.
I mean, that's almost like where does conception
I was just
occur?
gonna say when do you become?
You might want to think about that word choice. And
A
just
human.
yeah, okay, good. It just sounded like really bad English, kind of getting to the same point. Zoidberg, the
So you
want
to kill all monkey babies? Is that what you're saying?
When does life begin? Does it begin
after 40, embryo?
at the growth scraping, or the day that you're extracted from your tube?
It just there's just so much stuff crammed into this episode. I mean, like even Zoidberg the Lovable Tramp was just such a off. Like here's this thing that has nothing to do with anything, and we're just gonna shove it in and it works. But something that happened on this episode, and it made me think of something from another episode. All of it's been very strong this season is when there's like off-screen yelling. There's one in this episode where someone's like, "Hey, something's on TV," or I think Bender said that, or like you know. But then,
there's quite a bit of it on this episode.
like the superpower episode when they're like, "We can summon aquatic animals." Scroll you and Zoidberg, like that kind of stuff has been really well used. And I don't know if they just like, "Hey, here's some comedic device that we came across," or if it was like just coincidence. But it really enjoyed a lot of that this season.
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
They do, even though this has been going downhill since season 3. Another self-referential
Yeah, I was gonna say
dig,
that
right?
was pretty self-referential.
Just when they do throw the party, and the professor's like, just because it started 3 hours ago and no one's here doesn't mean you two are total losers, and that nobody likes you. I mean,
This party pukes.
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't if there was puking. Wouldn't it mean that it's a good party?
Depends on whether you're 13 or 23, I guess. There
never is a time
I've
where if
never
somebody's
wanted to
puking, I'm
puke.
like, this party's off the hook.
I think if you're at a party and it gets to the point where someone's throwing up, a lot of people are having fun. That's my personal experience. Preferably not you throwing up, but sometimes it is.
I don't like when anyone.
One time I threw up off the second story balcony at my friend's house. It was it all worked out. I mean,
There was nobody below.
No,
is
so,
what you're
I mean,
saying.
it was actually the party was over, and there was some chip dip that had been left out throughout the course of the party, and I had eaten some of it late in the evening with chips. I wasn't just like scooping it out of the bowl. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna have a couple of these before I lay down, and then I went to bed. I was staying over at his place because he's being responsible, and I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. And I just threw open the front porch door and went on the porch, and then just like straight off the balcony into the bushes downstairs. And he comes out, he's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I am now." And it's like it's all going to wash off in the rain, like it was the neighbor's yard. Who cares? But it's good to have an exit strategy. But like I go to a lot of children's birthday parties. I have over the last 8 years or so. Like when you have a kid, you get invited to them, and
Life changes.
you can't. Well, yes and no. I mean, there's nothing more pleasant than just being wasted at a kid's birthday party because then you can just let it wash over you. But it's really not a good party until there's tears and maybe some blood. Like you know that the kids aren't having fun until one of them gets so wound up that at least one of them starts crying. Like and it's just. I mean, I know we have some listeners that are parents, and they can agree. Preferably not your kid. You don't want to have the kid that's crying at the party. But there's one that we see sometimes, because there's like a circuit. There's like a whole kids party circuit. Where they're just snorting pixie sticks and all kinds of shit. Where there's like a couple kids that are like, oh, we're gonna get a performance tonight because it's like, oh, they fell down lightly. Oops. And now it's what? You're like, okay, it's time to go. We know everybody had a good time because they can't handle their emotions. But there's like an abrupt shift then where they go into the casting call thing, right?
Yeah, so they're watching Entertainment and Earth Invasion Tonight with Morbo and Linda, and the casting call gets announced that they're looking for young robots to replace Antonio Calculon Jr. And Bender looks at Tinny Tim, who was the only guest at the kid's birthday party.
By accident.
Someone put it in his begging cup. The invitation was in his begging cup. So Bender looks at Tinny Tim and he says, Tinny Tim, do you know what this means? I think I would be the perfect replacement for Antonio Calculon Jr. And Tinny Tim says, good sir, you've gotten my hopes up and then dashed them quite expertly.
And that's his whole thing. Like he's definitely built to handle that sort of disappointment. But it got me thinking. Tinny Tim is a robot, but he's built small to be a small, child-looking robot. So, I mean, could you build a big adult-sized robot that's supposed to be like I don't understand robot aging, basically, is what I'm getting at, because...
You will later.
Oh, God.
And then
It's
you
coming.
won't.
Yeah, you'll get it, and then you'll be like,
And
wait,
then they'll
what?
retcon it out of us and make it dumb.
No, it's already, it will be dumb.
Yeah.
Great.
So much dumb.
You're setting the stage for some wonderful things, aren't you? I mean, so I guess that Bender could be Antonio Calculon Jr., and clearly he was, but... The casting audition stuff was crazy.
Macaulay Culkin is just not as cute as he used to be once he got puberty installed.
They put like
The little light
LED
up
zits.
Yeah.
And then the fact that his hands are like,
It grosses me out.
really?
The LED zits. Yeah.
It would be a great Halloween costume. You know?
You could just be puberty for Halloween. God damn it, now I have to wait another 350 something days.
Oh, never mind. That made me think of another Halloween costume. I'll share it off, Mike. The other one, like the one that they're like, that's the one who grew up and robbed the convenience store. I think that was supposed to be Alfalfa. Like they had a reference to Alfalfa from the from Little Rascals. Then they tagged that joke with the robot who grew up to be a convenience store. And then the other one, they did a Mommy Dearest
No
reference.
more hanging wires.
just whipping, but like, why would she? Do they all have magical chest cavities or just Bender?
So far,
Some of them, I think some do and some don't.
So far, I've only seen Bender use his.
Right.
So I don't know.
But why would he have all the wires hanging inside anyway? Decoration?
Maybe it's. Oh, maybe he's getting. What's it called? Oh God.
Robot puberty?
Jacking on.
Jacking on. Maybe he's jacking on.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. God,
Well-
I couldn't think of that.
Couldn't think of jacking on.
I thought you thought about it all day long, Tom. I certainly do. It's just it's the hormones are terrible. I mean, I guess they just did a lot of really like obvious dumb jokes in this section, but none of them really bothered me. Like the whole thing about Bender, who is Mexican, not being able to speak Spanish, and his accent being terrible, but just like oblivious to
We
it.
want Bender.
Oh, that stuff was all good too.
Ooh,
Calculon's
this
like,
kid sucks.
I thought he was fine, but
The audience seems to have turned on him.
You're floundering up there, kid.
Were any of you stage parented?
I don't know if I would say stage parented, but sort of. No, I don't know.
Do tell. This sounds like there's a story there.
Well, I rode horses and I would compete.
Okay.
But I don't think I was like stage parented because I never really needed to be.
Like, were you forced to ride horses past the time that you wanted to ride horses?
No, I enjoyed doing it.
Okay,
but
then that doesn't count.
I did, was taken to things and events and.
Were your parents taking your winnings from? Were you a jockey?
No, I wasn't a jockey.
Oh, that could have been much more lucrative. You're small enough still. Have you ever thought about getting into jockeying?
I think I weigh too much.
That's weird. I mean, it's never been a possibility.
Those jockeys
for me.
are like, they're probably about the same height as me, but they're like rail thin. I mean, I'm not overweight by any means. I'm like 125 pounds, but those jockeys are like between 90 and 115 pounds.
Just little
like
slips
tops. They're
of
like tiny dudes.
Central American men.
Yeah, they're small.
I thought that's where the leprechauns went. I don't know.
It might be, but maybe it's like I never thought about it because like after World War II, you had all the Germans that moved to like Argentina. So maybe when St. Patrick kicked all the snakes out of Ireland, all the leprechauns split for like Guatemala.
There it is.
See,
I want to see a movie about a kid that all he wants to do when he grows up is to be a jockey, but he grows up and he's like really tall and big, but he still tries out to become a jockey.
how has Adam Sandler not made that
Horse,
movie?
Yeah.
Horseback after horseback is broken until he finally
just
meets a
don't go as
giant
fast.
horse
The
that
hor-
is
a horse-
super fast.
A horse can be fast and large and hold a large man, but they don't go as fast as when there's like nothing on top. It's like being aerodynamic. That's why those dudes are all tiny. That's
Don't
not because
ruin
they
my-
have to be.
Don't ruin my movie.
I want to see the
like-
super horse. Yeah.
I can't believe that isn't a Netflix original.
Go home and watch Seabiscuit, and you'll know about as much as I do about jockeys.
You had some bad experiences with jockeys, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I
No.
don't believe it. You have to listen for this because maybe she'll be asleep or something, and you'll hear it through the walls, or she's like having a jockey nightmare. just take notes.
I'll keep you posted. Don't
Perfect. We'll put it up on the Twitter feed when it happens.
So Bender's audition is so bad that Calculon thinks it gives him cancer. Yeah. That's a pretty bad audition.
That line became a meme.
Did
that,
it?
Yeah, that was completely disconnected from Futurama, and it was put on like other cartoons and other photographs of stuff. But like that
Really?
was so bad it gave me cancer. Originated with this episode of Futurama, and then it was like put on like Spider-Man. I see it on like that like 1960s Spider-Man.
The Spider-Man.
stuff. Yeah, like I've seen it a lot.
Wow.
And
Where?
It's just like on the internet. Like it was
Okay.
all over. We're talking like 10 years ago internet meme. Like
That's. I've never heard of that, but that makes sense. It's unfortunate they took Calculon out of the picture because it's like when there's those fake quotes that they attribute to like Mark Twain or something.
yeah,
You
or
know.
Marilyn Monroe or
That's my
Yeah.
favorite.
yeah.
There's somebody made, and maybe there was two, but I know somebody made a Twitter bot that would like repost quotes by Adolf Hitler and slap them on Marilyn Monroe. It was either her or Taylor Swift, and it was just like weird, And I don't think it was like we're going to promote a white nationalist thing as much as it was just like here's some really fucked up juxtaposition to kind of go on.
I had hours playing with the I think it was called the Inspiro bot, where it was an AI that would make up like inspirational memes just randomly generated inspirational memes, and they are fucking hysterical.
Such as
Oh man, it was like the image was like an old, like a classic painting of some fruit, like a still life, and the text that it gave me was like, remember, when you get full, just yell. Like, some of them were really odd. That's the only one that I can remember off the top of my head, but there were some really good ones.
I mean, and that one could be interpreted a number of ways, all of them inspiring.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
It's great. Yeah, look that up, the Inspiro bot.
Hey Pete, do you mind if I eat these gobstoppers?
Oh,
No, go for it. Do
we're
it on
gonna
mic,
have
too.
like hundreds of well, we're gonna have some listeners saying, "Why is Tom eating candy when I try to listen to the podcast?"
Here's a funny story about that candy. My wife left it on the table for you guys, just in case you wanted a snack, which, first of all, not a smart move. You shouldn't leave food out in front of a microphone sort of thing. So
True.
she's a podcaster or has been, so she should know this and no dice. But then my daughter came down and saw the candy that she left out and flipped out. She's like, no. I like those. Why are you giving those away? Those are, no. I already gave away a bunch of, I mean, she already ransomed you. It's not fair. So the caramel M&Ms, you guys lost out. Sorry.
Aw.
But
They're
yeah,
still there.
if it's still there, oh, see, she didn't get all of them. They must have been hidden under the
But what
gobstoppers.
about all that candy over there, guys?
The fact that Bender gets the part, but he's so bad that they're just gonna put him in a coma, which is another like soap opera staple.
Oh yeah.
Comas? Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I mean,
That's usually when the actor has to go to rehab.
is that what
Put
it
him
is?
in a coma.
Or there's like contract disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like comas were a thing in the I mean, and I say this like I just spent time in hospice with someone who was in a coma, so I understand that they're real and they're an ongoing thing. But I feel like, like in the 70s, you had the movies that were like, this fucking thing is on fire or it's sinking or crashing, or like the Poseidon Adventure or Towering Inferno or like disaster movies. But then you also had like the medical horror movies, because there was one that was like about coma, and then Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of played into that and stuff. But it's still such a weird thing now, except in soap operas. And that part doesn't make sense to me. Because like, maybe now that I'm deconstructing this as I'm saying it, so sorry for the real-time commentary. Maybe it's because when people are in comas, there's nothing happening except for like beep, beep, beep. And it's not real exciting television. So,
Yeah.
Never mind. I answered my own question.
And on that note.
Yeah.
So Bender decides like coma. I don't want to be in a coma, and he does all of his Bender shit. And I'm Bender. I'm the greatest. Boop, boop, boop.
My note says Bender goes ape shit.
Mine says does Bender shit.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Calculon is like, no, I only do one take. And I feel like that Calculon is like a just a multiple series of veiled, thinly William Shatner sort of.
Only unprofessional.
Yeah,
actors
I mean, like
do
Zap
two
Brannigan
takes.
is like the Captain Kirk sort of caricature, but like I feel like Calculon sort of plays into the real Shatner thing about it. I don't write down who said it, but someone says, I'm not familiar with the type of thing I'm seeing.
Oh yeah.
Was that Calculon?
Calculon. Yeah. As soon as Bender goes apeshit, as you said.
Who put this obnoxious dancing robot on my network? That was Network Execubot comes in and
All of them.
all of
Oh,
them.
I love them.
And that was like, I mean, because The Simpsons used to do it a lot too. I don't know if they still do. You would. But they would make fun of like television executives because they were always like on the chopping block.
Now
or
they
something.
just make fun of Fox.
Yeah.
Straight up. Just
If you had watched last Sunday night's episode of The Simpsons, you would get really angry.
Really?
Yeah. And you brought up Armin Tanzarian.
Yeah. Was he in it
earlier.
again?
They did flashbacks to Principal Skinner getting into OSU. Like he really wants to go to OSU because he wants to be in the marching band. But he's Principal
to sexually
Skinner.
harass people, or
No, just because he loves it. Apparently, Teen Skinner was like in the marching band, and he was a genius at coming up with like marching band formations. But he's in Springfield with Agnes Skinner, so they completely just wrote something that was not canon with the Armin Tanzarian backstory. Because it's just Principal Skinner, and the whole time I was super pissed. But at the same time, I was like, oh, they did a really great job actually recreating OSU's campus in this episode of The Simpsons.
I was wondering about
for no reason. It's totally correct. Like,
Well, wait, is it correct from?
the buildings are right.
But is
Like-
it? But is it? I mean, the buildings have all changed in the last 10 years when they gentrified the entire area.
Yeah, but I went there from 2008 or 2009, whatever it was that I came back. I went to OU for a year, and then I went to OSU for 4 years.
Was the union the new union or the old union?
I had a little bit of both, but
Okay.
mostly the new union
All right.
was like opening when I started going there. But yeah, the sidewalks were the right formation in the oval. I could have picked out right where I was a baked potato. But yeah, that whole the retconning of Armin Tanzarian, I was like, man.
I just I know you're a modern day Simpsons apologist, but I wish they would have
You know what?
stopped 15 years ago.
This one, it wasn't bad, but wasn't good.
This whole latest season.
This whole
has not
latest,
been
I'm
good.
so disappointed, and I kind of, it's almost making me regret going on Second Shot and sticking up for him because I feel like I jinxed it.
Maybe you should go on Second
jinxed
Shot
it.
again and reverse
Second
your opinion.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Triple shot. Or let's start a triple shot podcast. Don't tell George and Devin. But the whole Execubots thing where there was like The one who just basically rolls dice to pick out what's going to be hot in the fall season, and the other one is like, this one underestimates the Midwest.
Oh man.
And even the fact that like the actual main executive bot is just a laptop with like, I mean, basically I'm staring at it right now as this episode records.
What bothered me is how it had the like waveform looking thing and then the line going across. Sometimes it was okay, but most of the times it was like way off, and it bothered me because like it stopped and he was still talking.
It was interesting. I mean, because I feel like none of that's changed at all, except for maybe like the cable networks like AMC and IFC and stuff, where there's like, we're gonna get weird with it.
We're gonna let people be creative.
Or Adult Swim.
Yeah.
But the Nielsen family's all being like literally plugged.
No, but all
into
the major
thing.
networks are all the same.
Were any of you
Still.
Nielsen families?
I was briefly for a while.
I did it my family did it for a while. We got a $5 bill in the mail. And they're like, fill out this book. It's great.
God, like
Got a whole $5 for it. Pretty sure that was like my lunch money one week.
I just got a $1 bill in the mail from JD Power for doing a survey about my car, and it made me think like, this is how like, because it used to be never send cash in the mail, and now you have like major corporations like, fuck it, this stuff's
Here's a
worthless
buck.
anyway. Yeah, nobody even wants this stuff anymore.
They actually sent you cash?
They sent me a $1 bill.
Oh.
And like UNICEF will send a nickel every once in a while, which is a real dick
Right.
move. Because number one, it's
Dick move, UNICEF.
well, how much more does it cost to send an envelope with a piece of metal in it? Like, it's wasteful marketing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Um,
Plus, like a hungry family could have used that nickel.
yeah, to buy
Like
a car or something.
I don't want your fucking nickel. Like, take all those nickels that you mailed out, put them in a bag, take them to the Coinstar,
and beat somebody with it.
and donate that money to someone who actually needs it. I don't want a fucking nickel. Like, where's that gonna go?
You know what? There's a gas station, or not just. There's a Circle K that I go to all the time, but I've seen it at other stores that have like donation things, and they'll like, if you pay with cash, the change of it, they'll ask if you want to donate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like a dick saying no, because
That's
it
how they
works
get you.
really well.
Yeah.
But there's another thing. Plus, you're not carrying a ton of change around all the time.
I just do it because this is what happens now. Is
Well, you're saving for a college fund.
I don't even. Well, I do that other ways. That's what the whole meth. Oh, sorry.
Math.
No, yeah, math. That's what the math lab is for.
Teaching those kids how to make math.
I did a lot of driving on interstates and toll roads this summer, so I was just glad to have like piles of quarters and stuff in the car. I'm like, I'm ready. Give it to me, I-80. I'm gonna show you what the fuck is up.
There's pretty much only street parking at the tattoo shop that I work at, so I always have quarters with me because
They don't have
people
the
always
push
need it.
buttons, or can you just like go out and you should invest in slugs and just like start filling up the meters with slugs.
They're starting to change some of them from from a quarter get to a half an hour down to 15 minutes.
That's bullshit.
I know.
Total bull.
I wonder who's going to win the mayoral election that's happening tonight, because I bet
We'll
they
my
won't do anything to change it.
see.
So they decide that Bender's a filthmonger, which he is. That's fine. A lot of filthmongers are heroes. But then the other thing that came to me watching is like, Bender is the Poochie of all my circuits.
Mm-hmm.
An argument could probably be made that you're the Poochie of this podcast. You've made it younger and skewed it hipper for the kids.
Hey, kids, I'm cool.
That's
Well, you're the one that uses Twitter. Fuck Twitter.
Yeah.
I will not use Twitter. And if you want to get at me through the Slurmcast social media, don't try to get at me through Twitter, because you're gonna get beat. Because I
don't think we've posted
even,
like anything on Twitter.
I do a lot of
do you?
retweets.
I
and things, but
I
yeah.
only have it on my phone, so when I post something to the Facebook, I can like copy it and put it on the Twitter occasionally, and then I have to fucking change what I wrote because it's never 140 characters
No.
because I'm verbose. Like,
What do we have to do to get that 280? Is that, do you have to be
thought that
special
was
for
now.
anybody?
I thought. I mean, I don't use Twitter either, but That was my understanding. That it was
I don't
just
know.
That's- I like the
I
whole
write
brevity-
too much.
the
I
brevity
write
part.
way too much, and none of the posts that I put on Facebook ever fit on a fucking Twitter. So I just put it on the Facebook, and I'm like, it's cool. Pete will put it on Twitter.
I'll do something with it. Harchie and I used to manage it, and Harchie was much better at posting original content, but
Yeah.
I retweet a lot of our political philosophy that other people say better than we do, or Futurama related news. But it happens every once in a while. We have to do some stuff. The real, I guess this is maybe the most excited I've been in an episode of Futurama was they had an actual Black Flag song in it.
TV party.
One of their goofy, jokey songs, but nonetheless, it was like
One of my
wow.
favorite.
And they cleared it.
Yeah.
And then they do it again at the end of the episode with like the
Their
characters.
own yeah.
And Billy West went for it as Fry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it was way up at the top of that range, and he just hit it. And then Katie Seagal sang, and
I think Billy
I love
West
her
is
as
a
an
Black
actress,
Flag fan.
really,
Sure, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bunch of that going on, But it was really well timed and everything. Like, it's
Did they play Black Flag in the Bender episode with the professor makes the sweater folding machine, and
Where
it
the
might be
little- all the
later
little
on.
benders?
Yeah, so like he puts a sweater, like the professor is shrinking, so anytime he puts a sweater through this machine, it makes two smaller sweaters. So he has more sweater, and because he's getting smaller, like the sweaters get smaller.
Oh,
so
okay.
Bender keeps it replicates things. So Bender replicates himself over and over to like do his chores. And then he has like two smaller benders, and those benders are too lazy, and so they make benders to do their chores, and it goes on and on and on.
So what
And I'm
Black
like
Flag
totally
song would they
explaining
use?
a future episode, I think now. But I think there is another Black Flag song. I could be wrong, but
and the complicated nature of this is like, that's great, but all that money is going to go in Greg Ginn's pocket, and he's really kind of an asshole. So what are you going to do?
Henry Rollins is my personal hero and has been for years.
See, did you?
Old Uncle Hank.
I like him a lot too. It's a controversial opinion anymore, apparently, because at some point people just decided that they didn't like him. But I think he's just getting more like he needs to be our grumpy uncle.
Yeah,
We need.
he's
that.
great. He's great.
Yeah,
I love Henry Rollins.
Henry, if you listen, Michelle and I are all for you. Tom seems.
I
less
have no
enthused.
opinion. Because he could kick my ass.
I have seen Henry Rollins spoken word more than 5 times, less than 10.
Right there with you.
It's some of the best 3 hours you'll spend sitting on your ass.
You'll get your money's
Laughing.
worth for sure.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I saw him right after his Sons of Anarchy stint.
Oh,
And it was also right after he did RuPaul's Drag Race. So that was like a really, I think it was out in Kent, at the Kent stage, I think.
that
And
sounds right.
it was like 3.5 hours, and it just flew by. But I was like I was starting to get sore because I'm like shifting on
gotta
the
pee.
seat. Like, yeah. Yeah, Henry Rollins, you're great.
So I think this is the first episode maybe where they actually reference Hermes being a pothead.
Yeah.
Because before it was always like misdirects of like, I'm going to relax in the traditional Jamaican way with milk and cookies. But this is one where it's like Dwight's like, I stole one of my dad's cigars, which is like a giant blunt.
Yes.
And he takes a hit off it and immediately pukes everywhere. But then the whole thing where they come back in and the professor is just like, where'd you get this cigar? That's not a cigar and it's not mine. And I noticed today he takes it. He doesn't put it out. He sticks it in his coat, and then the smoke keeps coming out of his coat.
Yeah.
I like when he walks in, he's like Ross H. of
Tafari,
Tafari
yeah.
or whatever.
Oh, it was beautiful. I was trying to put the timeline together because basically this whole episode seemed like the Beavis and Butthead fire thing. Was it topical based on that? Like when did that happen? Where Beavis and Butthead came under fire because a 6-year-old lit his trailer on fire.
Like the 90s?
Yeah, I don't remember that.
When did Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead go off the air?
Well, Beavis and Butthead Do America was 96?
Probably.
Sounds right. Yeah.
I'm thinking 96, 98 would be even kind of late.
No, not 90. Yeah, it would have been.
But maybe like
95,
right
96.
around there. Yeah. Because I remember having like the on my bike helmet. And I also wore it when I was roller skating. Had all that artwork on it. The Beavis and Butthead Rat Fink.
1993.
The Do America came out?
No,
Or-
the fire incident.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then
That
Dario
was-
was like 98 to 2000 and or whatever.
That was the year I graduated high school when Beavis and Butthead got in trouble. God, I'm old.
I think it's just been. I think the whole.
I mean, it's always been a problem.
Yeah, the controversy about.
Or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of took it as like a deconstruction of that. You know, it was the whole idea of this episode to me seems like you're bringing up like this sort of like here's all the things that we're supposed to get upset about, but nobody's really going to do anything about it. We're all just going to forget about it tomorrow and
Like
watch some
mass
TV.
shootings?
Right. Well, sure, any of it. I mean,
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I've watched, I've never wanted to go dancing with stars. And I've watched a lot of America's Funniest Home Videos. I've never hit anyone in the nuts with a baseball bat
Right.
on purpose.
right.
For a cheap laugh.
All the time. But not on purpose and not on video. Because there's video, that's assault. They can bust you for that. And do you think America's Funniest Home Videos has ever led to anyone being arrested?
No.
Are you sure?
So.
Maybe someone
Maybe.
trying to be. Maybe
Maybe it indirectly
Well,
led to
they
Bob
were filming
Saget
it. They were
driving
arrested,
drunk.
but I don't think.
I think there's a direct correlation. But Tom Bergeron would never get involved in that shit.
No.
No.
He's no Saget.
He's a good man.
Yeah. I honestly, I think Bob Saget probably needs to stay inebriated to just blot out the
He's
fucking...
coming to Cleveland soon.
I know. I kind of want to go.
No, and like it's like next year, like
I
January
kinda
maybe.
wanna go. 'Cause
That's-
he's
that's soon.
so dirty.
Yeah, I know.
He is such a dirty comedian, and he's always been a super dirty comedian. And then
Yeah.
like he just randomly was fucking Danny Tanner, and that has no correlation with how he is as a stand-up. And I would really like to see like Bob Saget get funny.
But
Like,
do you think it's
just-
even funny? I don't, like, I haven't seen him. I'm sure he supposedly...
He did an hour special. I think it was HBO
Okay.
about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was good.
Okay.
So I don't know. Do I go see Bob Saget? Maybe I should try to get him to come on the podcast.
Becca and I are going to see Nick Offerman in a couple weeks, so I'm excited about that. Because I was gonna bring up a whole point about Henry Rollins and spoken word and how stupid I thought spoken word was, but then I was like, I'm kind of going to see the same thing because it's
It's basically stand up with
it's
a
just
point.
right, yeah,
It's storytelling.
it is.
It's
You're
just
right.
it's just song story, and there's nothing wrong
I just
with that.
picture every time I picture Henry Rollins doing spoken word, I just picture him shirtless in basketball shorts with a mic just screaming at people.
No, that's when he's singing.
You know, because that's my only time I've ever seen him.
And just another tag on good old Hank. Like, I love him as a personality. I like enjoy him as a philosopher and all those things. I have tried and tried and tried to get into Rollins' band, and fuck me if I just can't
I know, I can't.
connect
no,
with
I-
it.
I can't.
it's a little bit too jam bandy for me.
It all makes sense on paper. It's like,
yeah.
this is heavy and it's good, and just like, but it doesn't. I don't know.
There are a handful of Rollins band songs that I can get into, like Liar. Obviously, everyone loves Liar,
Sure,
which is a joke. It was a joke song, like,
right? Like TV Party,
yeah.
and the
And
lesson
then
from that is
whichever, I don't remember the name of the song that was in The Crow, but that's another Rollins band track that I can handle. It's pretty good.
Oh shoot, I don't remember, but yeah, it's. I mean, End of Silence was kind of the. God, we're getting. How long did you want us to ramble for this time, Tom? All talented musicians, all a very fantastic musical combo group, very tight, very intense. It doesn't connect with me 100%, and that's okay. Fathers Against Rude Television.
That's not what FART is all about.
That's not what our
Some
fathers
kind
are
of cheap
into.
laugh.
That was good.
It's always a cheap
That's
laugh.
such a dumb,
Not us farters.
such a dumb joke and silly.
I was listening to the Alan Cox show today, driving
Why?
home from work, because I like Bill a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And
Don't
it's just,
be
Yeah.
jealous. You
Yeah.
replaced him. If anything, he's jealous of you.
No, I just mean Alan Cox show though. Like, okay.
It's
Bill,
to be,
yes.
To be
but
honest,
I
it's
just
like
can't do morning radio.
it's like 15 minutes, and most of it's commercials.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
today, just
All right.
Bill was talking about putting fart sounds into the newest 50 Shades of Grey movie trailer. And so they did it, and you just there was no visual, but it's just you heard him talking, and they just had him, and I was laughing because the fart
Okay, that is funny.
are always funny.
Farts are
Yeah.
always funny.
Oh yeah.
And so is poop and dicks.
I mean, it depends. There's a lot of situations where that isn't, and sometimes when they're all together, it's not.
Yeah, the trifecta is never good.
Yeah, all three of them at the same time is not always funny.
What do you mean?
I like the fact that they blame public schools on kids turning rotten. It's
obviously TV.
well, no, I mean, my daughter goes to public schools, and those kids are pretty awful too. It's interesting because what we've been finding, and this is in talking with teachers and the administration and stuff, is like the Mean Girls stuff that starts in like 7th grade is skewing way lower, like earlier. Like it's just starting super
Thanks,
young.
internet.
Now. I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know if it's YouTube. I don't know if it's like Disney shows. I don't know what it is. It's just like, you know, in particular at my daughter's school, like her grade, the gender ratio is just like completely out of whack in favor of girls. And what we've been hearing from like teachers since she was in kindergarten is just like the boys are terrified all the time and the girls don't stop talking. And it's not just like, I mean, my kid talks a lot and she's really intense, but like all of them are just like, they don't stop because they all just feed into each other. And then when they have to line up and go somewhere, all the boys like stand at the front of the row and they're just like, they're just scared, like all huddled together because it's just like this whole, like, you know, just flanked by girls. And you think like in 10 years, it'd be like, all right, I'm a scarce resource. And you know, then we could have like a fighting pit or something. It's going to be real bad.
Yeah.
I was asking we had parent-teacher conferences last week. I'm like, does this even out as they feed into the bigger schools? Just like, yes, like this is really weird, but it does kind of balance.
So it's a known problem?
It's not even a problem. It's just
Or
like,
just like that's what's happening?
everybody in my daughter's class that had a kid the same year she was born had a girl instead of a boy, apparently.
My 3-year-old niece already has a burn book, so... No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't really. She's super sweet.
Is she a cutter already?
I never was like, I was never like that, and not any, like none of my friends were.
You were an art student,
and
though.
yeah, I went to art school from like 6th grade up, and I remember when.
How did you go to art school in 6th grade?
I went to a magnet school for art.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I had to apply to do a lottery and get my name pulled out of a hat and go to like the special art school downtown for arty kids. And
So your parents didn't give a shit about you having a career in your chosen field of study that early, from like 12 years old. They're just like, good luck.
they just wanted to nurture my artistic side. And it was also
And now you work for a bank.
Well, the funny thing is that the art schools in that district are also the academic schools. So it's like all the smart kids go there, and it's the smart kid school.
Did they use that?
Well, okay, here's a funny story. When I was in high school, we got our IDs issued to us, and I looked at mine and I walked back over to the vice principal and I said, "This says Fort Hays Arts and Academic High School on it." And he was like, "Ah, shit." And then he like took my ID back from me. I had to go to like all of the other kids that he had just passed out IDs to. They like How do you misspell academic? It's the name of the school.
Whoops.
And also, it's the word academic.
Yeah, that's
man.
bad. At least it didn't spell art wrong.
Right. And another fun fact, if you're in the Columbus area, if you go to the CCAD campus, which is the Columbus College of Art and Design, there is a telephone pole that you can line up perfectly with their art sculpture to make it say fart. Which brings us back to the Fathers Against Rude Television.
So did you guys ever want to emulate people you saw on TV? Like, did you ever consciously do it? I'm sure we all did it as kids. I have to fucking deal with it every day with my daughter.
As a kid, I remember like I would play like movies, pretend I was that person, but I never had like it was never anything. I never did anything dangerous. I never thought of like, that's so cool. I'm gonna try to do that. Wrestling is the only thing that I think that I want. Like I tried to emulate, and then some injuries, like nothing major, but it was
video games or stuff. I mean, really any sort of stimuli input. Like we tried to make violent booby traps when I was a kid, but it was way before Home Alone came out. Like that was our own ideas, because we were trying to create secret bases in our backyards. Like when you could kind of climb through all the different neighbors' backyards. There's like a secret pathway in the middle of the block.
Did you ever burgle anyone?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's what Qbert and Dwight do.
Yeah,
they start to burgle.
Did you guys?
That's not the same.
Did you guys ever do it?
I did never burgle someone. No,
not burgled.
No.
Okay. I have a friend.
That is a specific thing. I've never broken and entered or like
no
right,
or
so
robbed.
The names are going to be left out to protect the guilty. But I have this friend that like in high school, late high school, early college, go back home for the summer, and this might have even been before that. South suburban suburbs in Cleveland. So like kind of well-to-do, not like filthy rich, but like upper middle class. And him and his buddy would just kind of walk around, and people would leave their garages and stuff unlocked, and they'd just go in and like steal beer or like people they didn't know. They'd just walk in and take
stories
stuff and
from
just leave.
People that I know that grew up in like Westlake and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't even like tools or anything. It was just like
you take beer from the rich dude's fridge and he never notices because like, whoops, I guess I was out.
I had twice as much last night. I don't even remember. It's because like where we are, it's not particularly dangerous or anything. I guess it is if you're a coyote or a fox that people think is a coyote, because then you get shot by the police. But you still got to keep stuff kind of closed up and locked down, and but you'll get people that root through. If you leave all your change in your car, there's people that'll come through and check and see if your car is unlocked and just grab it. Like it's very transgressive.
That's why I don't leave anything.
Is it because of TV?
I don't leave
Probably.
anything viewable in my car. It all
Never.
goes inside. My car is spotless.
God, that would be nice. Mine, I don't really drive either of ours very much anymore, and somehow they both get full of garbage. It's not my garbage. It's just like, what? Where did this come from? Why is there filth in here?
Nick can attest my car is spotless.
It truly.
Does she detail it?
I think she must do it on her like lunch break. Something like that, because she came straight home from work. She had no alone time with her car, and the thing was just pristine.
Do you just throw the trash out the window, like when you're driving down 480 or whatever?
Nope, no trash.
What's the secret?
No food in my car.
Will you eat in your car?
Sometimes.
We know you won't eat McDonald's hamburgers in your car, but
one day I will get a McDonald's hamburger and I will eat it, and I will take a picture of myself eating a McDonald's hamburger and I will post it to the Slurmcast page. I will prove to you and the listeners that
I want to do it on the
eat.
podcast, and I want it to just be silent and us staring at you as you finish
it. Funny story. Okay, so that's like the Andy Warhol eating Burger King video.
Yeah.
And I did a project on that one time in my performance art class.
Were you able to dovetail it in with like a sexual harassment charge against your professor?
No.
That would have been even better.
Unfortunately. Same class, though.
He was like the original Harvey Weinstein, huh?
I don't know if he was that bad. I don't think he ejaculated into a plant, but...
Not even as a performance art
I don't
piece.
even know. I don't.
We really want to get to it. JFK was probably the original Harvey Weinstein.
That's true. I mean, I think basically every man in power ever
Yeah.
probably is. leaning
Let's
more
go back to
towards
that. George Washington was probably.
Oh God. God, we are getting rambly, but there's been a lot of good stuff. The thing that I thought was interesting when Dwight and Kubert and Tinny Tim go to rob Fry and Bender out of
They're just robbing Bender.
Hey, Bender.
Well,
Hey, Bender.
no, but this is the thing. Yes, exactly that. Fry's lying on the couch in his underwear, reading comics and playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think, like, when this is done and I pack everything up and I go sit on my couch and drink and have my iPhone and my iPad and a laptop and the TV going, I'm doing the same thing. Like, that is not a new development. It's just that the able to, and it's like, this is why I can't relax, because I need so much stimulus at all that if I'm left alone with my thoughts, I go crazy.
The other night, Nick's friend came over, and the three of us were sitting in the living room with our own PlayStations and our own televisions, all playing games at the same time.
And now you're going to have another TV.
Now I'm going to have another TV, too.
It's like a bonus monitor. So
I
you
won't
just have guest
to,
visitors.
Let's just plug in all the TVs when we get home and then play
God, I
like
don't
every
have your
game.
I want to
electric
get
bill.
more TVs just so we can have
About to.
them all run.
My
We can
friend,
invite people over.
And make it like one big TV.
This was
Don't tell Allison.
this is a secondary residence of the people that I used to go. We'd do the Sunday night potlucks, and this is like when we'd watch The Simpsons and Futurama. So this is going way back to the beginning of that as a series. Every Sunday we'd all get together and have a potluck dinner and watch TV. You know, the good stuff. Later on, we all lived in an apartment building right on High Street in Columbus, across from the undergraduate library. So like right in the center of the shit. That was a demilitarized zone during football Saturdays. But they had there were two apartments on the one side of the building that were like 3-bedroom apartments, and then there were like 4 singles on the other. So I was in one of the singles, and then 3 of them were in one of these other long ones. And they garbage picked about 20 different TVs, and they stacked them all up in the living room in front of the fireplace. They call it TV Mountain. And they'd get it all tuned into the same thing. It was just like, this is what happens when you live near a bunch of artists and there's a lot of people in a transient population, because there's just shit to find and then it gets repurposed.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Again, electric bill was probably completely bonkers.
I've always wanted to hit a TV with a sledgehammer.
What kind?
It would have to be an old.
I've shot up a TV with a rifle before.
What?
That's pretty fun.
I've shot a TV too, actually.
Yeah. There's like a range out in Ravenna where you can just bring your shit and they'll let you shoot it.
How did you shoot a TV?
Oh, I grew up like out in the country. You know, I had like gun-toting family members.
Okay.
You know, hey, let's. You know, my uncle used to come and like steal me from my mom. Like, hey, I need to borrow your son to help me with some stuff today. And then you know, I'd be like, oh, great, I got to go do chores. And then we'd take me out back and we'd say, here, shoot this TV.
So it wasn't like some extreme Elvis cosplay or something. It was just like.
Can I change the answer? Because I'd rather go with that.
Have any of you ever been to Graceland?
Yes.
I want to go.
It's a little disappointing, honestly, because it's like I feel like there's bigger houses on the lake, just on Edgewater and Rocky River. It's actually it's opulent, and it's on a big chunk
That's
of
not
land.
the point. It's because it's Elvis's house.
No, I understand,
But
but
you
that's the
would
thing. You
expect
think
it
like
to
it's
be like-
Elvis's
oh,
house. It
yeah.
should be a massive fucking compound.
Who knows how big the upstairs is?
Well, you can see from the outside. I mean, you can.
It
figure
could be like
Bender's chest cavity.
exactly.
It's a multi-dimensional
So
TARDIS-like
That's
portal.
why they don't let you up there.
So, like, the thing about it is, it's gaudy as fuck, like, as you'd expect, for sure. But when you get down into, you know, like the jungle room, the infamous jungle room at Graceland, it's just like somebody's rec room, but it's got like shag carpeting on the ceiling and the walls and kind of jungly decoration. It's not like there's anything crazy about it. It's like, this is just like, this looks like my uncle's house in the 70s.
It's my next design choice for my house is shag carpeting
On the ceiling. It's really good for deadening noise.
That's what my house needs.
But when you get in the basement,
And drop ceiling on your floor.
for sure. Because then,
you just
step through it.
step right down.
Like the whole thing about it in the basement, which was like his man cave thing, and it's done up. I mean, it's like sort of like a Clockwork Orange looking thing. Like it's a very mod sort of space. But it's like this was the ultimate in decadence. He had 3 TVs, and they're like 27-inch, you know, cathode ray tube TVs, like kind of recessed into the wall so you can just see them. But you're just like, that's where he shot his TVs at. Like, this is it. You're just like, he could watch 3 televisions at once. I'm like, I could do that right now at any place that I'm at any time. I could probably watch like 3 different video feeds on my phone at the same time because we're destroying ourselves. But it's like, that's how far we've come. I just wish that do you think it's better or worse to shoot like a flat screen TV versus a cathode ray? Does it matter?
I would want a big tube TV.
What about one of those like rear projection ones, like the big tubes? Would that be better, or is that too big?
Depends what kind of gun you're using, I guess.
What about with a sledgehammer?
With a sledgehammer, it has to be I just want a regular tube, like CRT TV. It could even be a computer monitor.
I can't believe that hasn't been a theme night at either the Spitfire or the Funhouse.
Because people can get hurt.
People can get hurt when you make a washing machine tear itself apart, too.
I mean, Spitfire used to have the Grinder Girls perform there. That was always a fun time.
And the mud wrestling.
Okay, I don't know.
Let's bring it up. Let's see what Stas
There's a
can do.
place now that you can rent a room and smash everything in it.
Stuff. Yeah.
I think we talked about that on an earlier episode.
It's one of my dreams. We could do a remote episode there or something. Or could you just insert breaking sound effects? We'll tell people that's what we're doing. But the whole thing, like, they steal Bender's adult periodicals, which is just more schematics and stuff. But
why was he sleeping in the safe?
Because he sleeps in a small space. He sleeps in the closet.
Bender is so great that he has to sleep in a safe because it's Bender's loot. Bender is Bender's loot.
But he does that big about face where he's just like, I shouldn't be on TV. Like, this is crazy. I'm awful.
Hey, where'd these kids get all this cool stuff? Wait a minute, this is my stuff.
Stealing is one of the worst and coolest crimes.
I love that Futurama, the show that doesn't condone the cool crime of stealing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the professor uses his coolometer, and I just like when he gets to the kids after they've burgled, it measures at over 40 megafonzies.
I know.
Because Fonzie is the definition of cool, so 40 megafonzies is like...
I mean, I would even argue at this point, like, Henry Winkler is probably the definition of cool. Like, he
totally.
just seemed... How disappointed are we going to be when, like, whatever he's done that's terrible comes out?
You know what? He was very progressive because when he was getting married to Pinky Tuscadero, he didn't make her change his name, and he was going to be,
Fonzie Tuscadero?
Fonzie Tuscadero or something.
Wait, that doesn't... It'd be
Then
Arthur
there
Tuscadero.
Yeah, then there was there's
Fonzie.
Pinky's little sister, Leather Tuscadero, played by Susie Quattro. Come on.
It's just...
So cool.
Yeah, but even now, like, it's like... The only thing we can know about America's sweethearts is they will all disappoint us, and it'll just ruin our lives eventually. This is the age we live in. Like, because as humans, everyone is awful. Like, I get that. We're all...
And it's TV's fault.
Yeah, we're all terrible. It's all because of the media, real and fake.
And
both.
our parents.
Yeah. Well, no.
Who does that guy think I am?
We're an exciting new mob. which again, this show being so prescient where it's like, oh yeah, here's outrage. Like if they were gonna do this today, it would just be like the social media. It would be like all of them writing bad Yelp reviews to like tear apart the TV
Well, I like
show.
Yeah.
Professor say when he goes, "I'm a cold-blooded punk."
Oh, yeah.
Like, fucking professor.
I was
Cold-blooded
using
punk.
that when he takes the gun away.
Yeah.
The answer is a gritty, in-your-face no. It's just good, and anything that winds up with like the advice, turn off the TV and hit your children. You can't do it anymore, and that's why we're all going to hell in a handbasket, I think.
splice in some reaction shots of me and shove it on the air.
Oh, man.
That was
great.
my biggest laugh of the episode. Is the beach, because he's on the beach.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like
with a
drinking
drink.
he's drinking it like a cocktail on the beach. He just goes and like the ice in the glass even kind of like tinkles as he reacts. But it goes from Bender like on set to Calculon on the beach.
Have we determined, and I didn't look at this, is Calculon played by Maurice LaMarche or is it Fred
Yes.
Welker?
No, it's Maurice LaMarche.
Because he sounds very, very much like Freddy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Maurice LaMarche.
Crazy. Okay.
Because I was listening to the commentary, and he was doing the voice.
Any gems
they were.
on this one? Were there any deleted scenes?
No deleted scenes.
Hmm.
Nothing really. They made a joke about how, since they knew they weren't going to be coming back, they just blew their money on getting the rights to songs. Because there's another main, like, real song in that, too.
Is there?
When they're, it's when they're having the party, when Kubert and Dwight are having the party.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice.
The first party or the second party when they
The
have
second one, when all the
When
kids
they're
are
cool.
there. Yeah, that's when they come in and it's like, what's going on? And cool.
Interesting.
Cool little meter.
Overall, and this is one of the few episodes that I ended up watching twice. I liked this one a lot. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely one of the strongers, and even like the story. The story is kind of dumb and cliched, I think, but like there's so many good like quick jokes in there. It was a fun time. I don't know. This is a good one. We keep skirting around the one that we have to do. And it's gonna be brutal.
Yeah. What did you think about this one, Nick?
I thought it was like what you said about it being a cliche. I kind of felt like that was like intentional, because it's such a it's just back to the same kind of thing that I was referring to before, where you have like a recurring problem that keeps the America just keeps ignoring, or the world just keeps ignoring, and we all go back to our thing. And I kind of felt like that was sort of tying in with that theme of there's a problem, we're just going to slap a Band-Aid over it.
And that's
Or not
very
at all.
clear
Or
at
not
the
at
end
all.
when he says, "Oh, should we turn off the TV?" And the professor says, "Depends on what's on."
Nothing.
Fry goes, "Nothing good." He says, "Let's just keep watching."
Yeah.
Like the whole episode was turn off the TV, and you know what? In the end, no one turns off the TV.
And this is like 15 years before the 24-hour outrage cycle. Like, I just, it's almost one of those things where like the shit that you really should be getting outraged about doesn't. I mean, people do, obviously, and there's no shortage of it anymore these days. It's like we could all probably get online right now and find 3 new things to get outraged about separately, like just all of a sudden. But like, that misdirect where it's like, I just, we've talked about this some before, but just the whole like baseball logo thing, and it's like, I don't understand being so caring about anything inconsequential that much to be upset about it. Really,
I agree.
I'm saying that as like, get rid of it because who cares? Like I'd say the same thing if you're like, well, okay, we're gonna change the symbol for Christianity from a cross to
Buddy
an
Jesus.
octopus or Buddy Jesus or whatever. It's just like whatever, it's like, let's go change the American flag because it doesn't matter. So it's ultimately the symbolism and whatever it actually stands for, as far as you're concerned, is just what you project onto it. So
Right.
It could be anything because it's only going to have as much import as you give it. That being said, I'm looking at you now and thinking, was your uncle actually Elvis?
You got me.
Oh no! Why did you not tell me before?
He probably could have gotten you into Graceland for
I
free.
do.
I don't like to ride his
Though, real
coattails.
quick, do you think they should just change the national anthem to
Baby Got Back.
"I Love This Bar" by Toby Keith?
What about the
Everyone
grill?
loves
What
that
about the
song.
grill part?
The girl part?
The grill part.
The grill? What?
Because his chain of restaurants.
Oh.
And this is Toby Keith, the giant Ewok we're talking about.
I don't know. He has that song called "I Love This Bar."
But
Right?
he's got an Ewok mouth.
He might.
No, he does. He does. If you
Yeah.
you know
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
yeah.
Okay. I get it now.
but he has a chain of restaurants called I Love This Bar and Grill. They were supposed to put one in the Flats, I think, or maybe they are. You know, in one of those spots, it's like it's gonna be in
I think they
Margaritaville,
are.
and it's like let's find a tacky ass chain restaurant to slap downtown in a prettiest area full of shitty people.
Then-
Can we? It's called Progress.
Brad Paisley's Clams and Crabs.
That's a massage parlor.
Oh no. Do they have lunch specials or?
Just chowder.
Ugh.
Or a very filthy strip joint.
Oh. He seems too wholesome for that. Fantastic guitar player, though. Wow. The time just flew, didn't it? Do we have any other final departing thoughts?
Do you have anything else you want? Did we steamroll you over anything?
No. I think most of the points I had were either brought up already that I,
Or
that
they
I
were
didn't
stupid.
Probably.
How about this question?
I
Here's
get
a
that from
question that
Elvis.
we'll ask sometimes. If you could pick a character to do a spin-off, who would you pick?
Oh, hands down, the professor.
Really?
Yeah,
I think that's the first time
That's a
someone
new
said
one.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, he's 90% of the reason I watch the show.
Would it be young professor, like mom era?
No, I want him older. I want him more senile.
Huh.
Interesting.
Man.
You know, and just as a related note to that, one of the things that I loved about this episode was there was about a half dozen instances of the professors being like, "What?" like with his exaggerated, like that. There's something about that was really like getting to me today. It was good, but there was a lot of those. That's an interesting take because in some ways, you know, he is kind of the wacky neighbor, so to speak, on this, or maybe this was. News Radio was on before this, and it's not like there hasn't been crazy bosses, but he's like a Jimmy James kind of character.
Right. Yeah, I love how he just kind of like comes in and guess what? Here's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
nobody can fight him on it because
He's the boss.
he's the boss. And yeah, you're probably going to die, but just roll
It's
with
all
it.
right. I've got an army of people behind you that will fill your spot, so don't worry about that. the company will thrive either way.
Right. His like mad scientist like insanity is just it's just so great to me. I'd really love to see them
That could
keep
be
that.
fun. I wonder if they did more podcast episodes, if they could will this into being, like the offshoot episode where we get the Joey of Futurama, but you could change it around each time.
Make it good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make it good, unlike Joey, because that show, I don't know. Someone just told me that show got 2 seasons. Was it Claire?
No, well,
Someone
it was
the other
probably
day
me.
I brought it
probably
up.
watched all of it because my ex-wife liked it.
Oh, man, that show was
Like,
bad.
This is item 199
Let's
on the litany
turn
of
one of the
problems I
most
had with that.
interesting characters into the least interesting character.
This was a whole thing.
I'd rather watch a spinoff about Chandler. Everyone would. Come on.
What would it be called?
Bing. I don't know.
Is there anywhere? Do you want people to be able to find you on the internet?
Well, only if they're trying to get a hold of my uncle. So
Oh, well, you can be a gatekeeper and monetize that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's all about monetization. But any social media accounts or anything for people to follow?
No particular shout outs.
If you want to rent a U-Haul, head to the Sunoco on Detroit and say hi to Nick McKinnis.
I do rent U-Hauls.
Do you make people bring them back? Does that be
Sometimes.
another good way to?
I've always had to bring him back.
Yeah. I like to charge people for that.
charge them double.
Yeah.
Well, we can be found at.
Slurmcast.com with www before it.
That's right. We can be emailed at slurmcastpod@gmail.com. We can be found on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at slurmcastpod. You can rate and review us on iTunes. You can call text.
Or turn around because we're right there.
Multimedia message us pictures of things or videos at 216-438-1077. These are all, it's been a long time. I'm trying to remember everything.
That's correct.
I think that's it. So it's the end of another fascinating episode, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.
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 Hello.